And welcome back to Safeco Field in Seattle. The All-Star reserves have taken the field. It's time to meet these guys. Now let's join public address announcer Tom Hutler for the introduction of tonight's All-Stars.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the All-Stars. First, the National League, the coaches. From the San Diego Padres, manager Bruce Bochy. From the San Francisco Giants, manager Dusty Baker. Now the players. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, pitcher Curt Schilling. From the Atlanta Braves, pitcher John Burkett. From the Chicago Cubs, pitcher John Lieber. From the Cincinnati Reds, first baseman Sean Casey. From the Colorado Rockies, pitcher Mike Hampton. From the Florida Marlins, catcher Charles Johnson. And outfielder Cliff Floyd. From the Houston Astros, pitcher Billy Wagner. Outfielder Lance Berkman. And outfielder Moises Alou. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, pitcher Jeff Shaw. And pitcher Chan Ho Park. From the Milwaukee Brewers, pitcher Ben Sheets. From the Montreal Expos, outfielder Vladimir Guerrero. From the New York Mets, pitcher Rick Reed. From the Philadelphia Phillies, shortstop Jimmy Rollins. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, outfielder Brian Giles. From the St. Louis Cardinals, third baseman Albert Pujols. And pitcher Matt Morris. And for the San Diego Padres, outfielder and honorary All-Star Tony Gwynn. Third baseman Phil Nevin. And first baseman Ryan Klesko. Now let's meet the American League All-Stars. First, the coaches. From the Seattle Mariners, manager Lou Piniella. From the Kansas City Royals, manager Tony Muser. And now the players. From the Anaheim Angels, third baseman Troy Glaus. Pitcher Troy Percival. From the Chicago White Sox, outfielder Maglio Ordonez. From the Cleveland Indians, second baseman Roberto Alomar. From the Detroit Tigers, first baseman Tony Clark. From the Kansas City Royals, first baseman Mike Sweeney. From the Minnesota Twins, shortstop Christian Guzman. Pitcher Eric Milton. And pitcher Joe Mays. From the New York Yankees, shortstop Derek Jeter. Catcher Jorge Posada. Pitcher, Mike Stanton. Pitcher, Andy Pettit. And outfielder, Bernie Williams. From the Oakland Athletics, first baseman, Jason Giambi. From the Seattle Mariners, pitcher, Kazuhiro Sasaki. Pitcher, Freddie Garcia. Pitcher, Jeff Nelson. And outfielder, Mike Cameron. From the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, outfielder, Greg Vaughn. And from the Toronto Blue Jays, pitcher, Paul Quantrill. Now, let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the New York Mets, Bobby Valentine. Leading off from the Arizona Diamondbacks, center fielder Luis Gonzalez. Batting second from the Colorado Rockies, first baseman Todd Helton. Batting third from the San Francisco Giants, left fielder Barry Bonds. Batting fourth from the Chicago Cubs, right fielder Sammy Sosa. Batting fifth from the Colorado Rockies, designated hitter Larry Walker. Batting sixth from the New York Mets, catcher Mike Piazza. Batting seventh from the Atlanta Braves, third baseman Chipper Jones. Batting eighth from the San Francisco Giants, second baseman Jeff Hint. And batting ninth from the San Francisco Giants, shortstop Rich Aurelia. And the National League starting pitcher warming up in the bullpen from the Arizona Diamondbacks, Randy Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2001 National League All-Stars. Now, let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the New York Yankees, Joe Torre. Leading off from the Seattle Mariners, center fielder Ichiro Suzuki. Batting second from the Texas Rangers shortstop, Alex Rodriguez. Batting third from the Boston Red Sox, left fielder Manny Ramirez. Batting fourth from the Seattle Mariners, second baseman Brad Boone. Batting fifth from the Cleveland Indians, right fielder Juan Gonzalez. Batting sixth from the Seattle Mariners, first baseman John Olerud. Batting seventh from the Seattle Mariners, designated hitter Edgar Martinez. Batting eighth from the Baltimore Orioles, third baseman Cal Ripken Jr. And batting ninth for the Texas Rangers, the catcher, Ivan Rodriguez. Pitching for the American League and warming up in the bullpen from the New York Yankees, Roger Clemens. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2001 American League All-Stars.
Tom, nice job. I sure hope these fans are worn out. They will have plenty more opportunities to cheer tonight. 72nd All-Star game rolls on. The national anthem when we come back. We welcome you back to Seattle, Safeco Field. National anthem time. Diana Krall singing the Canadian national anthem.
Her very first album reached Platinum Plus status, and her sophomore album, Fear of Flying, continues to receive critical acclaim. Currently, she can be heard on the Billboard charts with a hit single from the Moulin Rouge soundtrack. Please welcome Interscope recording artist, Maya.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous
My, what an anthem. What a flyby. And hopefully tonight, what a game. Time to make some memories in Seattle. The 72nd Major League Baseball All-Star Game. It's right after this break, and it's right here on Fox. All right, my chills meter is already at 3. I've had three bouts with chills. Joe Buck and Tim McCarver with you. And Tim, anytime you get ready for a game like this, and anytime a fan is trying to figure out what to watch for in a game, you highlight certain stories. There are so many stories packed into this 72nd All-Star Game, one of which that seems to run through all of it is the internationalization of this game of baseball.
Well, there are players from 7 different countries. There are 22 first-time All-Stars. There are 4 rookies, and against this backdrop, 2 of the most dominating pitchers in the history of the game, Roger Clemens and Randy Johnson. What a show it should be, and as you could tell, they're used to cheering here in Seattle.
Yeah, we have already heard some real classy cheers coming out of this crowd at Safeco Field. Alex Rodriguez, and I think he's been touched with his reception so far this week in Seattle. During the home run competition yesterday, I saw him get choked up. I would say more cheers than boos when he was introduced in the starting lineup. Here tonight, Randy Johnson, the place went electric when he was introduced. I think from person to person, player to player, manager, coach to coach, these fans here in Seattle, and they've been loving baseball since the start of this season in particular, they are thrilled to host this game.
Interestingly, yesterday during the workouts, the guy who received the most applause was Mike Cameron, who came over from Cincinnati for Ken Griffey Jr. 8 Mariners represented tonight, 6 Yankees. Those 2 teams have the most players, and it, as we said, should be so exciting.
How fitting that Seattle would host this All-Star Game. Who knew? Who knew when they picked Seattle that the Mariners would be on this kind of a streak that they're on pace for 117 victories, which would be a record. You start to think about what this team is doing, and they're doing it, obviously, the old story. One superstar after another has left over the past 4 years, obviously starting with Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr., Alex Rodriguez, and this team is absolutely dominating play this season in the American League. You see their record, 63-24. Read on down. 19-game lead over Oakland. That is the largest of any team at the All-Star break in the history of All-Star breaks. They have already won the American League West. Lou Piniella can start to get his postseason rotation in line right now.
Yeah, I think he can. We talked about Ichiro a little bit in the pregame show. What a player. He can run. He can hit. Excellent base runner, and what an outfielder. This throw the first week of the season against Oakland. He made his mark early and often here in Seattle.
Well, the American League All-Stars are on the field. We'll talk more about Ichiro as we look at Roger Clemens. Roger Clemens, who makes the start. He last started an All-Star game in 1986 wearing a Red Sox uniform. Now he's wearing a Yankee uniform, and his stretch over the past calendar year has been nothing short of spectacular for the New York Yankees. He finally is the pitcher the Yankees thought they were getting when they traded David Wells, Graham Lloyd, Homer Bush to Toronto to get him. He is the dominating pitcher they wanted.
A rough year in 1999, his first year coming to the Yankees. On the disabled list for part of last season, but since July 1st of last year, when he came off the disabled list, he has been his old dominating self.
Alex Rodriguez thought of this. He grew up in Miami idolizing Cal Ripken Jr. And he thought this year should be the year that Cal Ripken Jr. should finish as an All-Star and start this game as a shortstop, where he, as Kevin Kennedy said in the pregame, revolutionized the position of shortstop. Cal has no idea, and Alex Rodriguez said, you know what? I want Ripken to play short, and we'll see if Ripken is accepting. You knew he wouldn't want to go. Joe Torre back up for Alex Rodriguez. And in this 72nd All-Star game, the 19-time All-Star deserves to go out and play this first inning as the shortstop.
Hey, you've got to do what your manager tells you, right?
He's only following instructions. I think he just said to Roger Clemens, strike him out. Don't have him hit it up the middle. So a classy gesture from a classy man. Alex Rodriguez, his idea, and Cal Ripken fought it. But Junior finally gave in when Joe Torre said, get over there. So there's a surprise for Cal already. And Luis Gonzalez will stand in and get it started for the National League. We hope to do justice during the course of this game, Tim. I'm going to leave this up to you. We've got to do justice to all of these players coming in the game, but they come and go so quickly. There are so many stories here, and this is one of them. Luis Gonzalez with 35 home runs. The winner of the home run derby competition yesterday as Clemens starts him with a strike. Gonzalez last year career high 31 home runs. He's already 4 better than that, and he's only 4 home runs shy of that guy, Barry Bonds, after the first half of the season. 1 ball, 1 strike.
His prior 9 years in the major leagues, he averaged only 15 home runs a year, and he has 66 in his last year and a half. Mind-boggling.
2 balls and a strike. And to think the Arizona Diamondbacks traded Kareem Garcia to get him. Kareem Garcia, talented outfielder, never did what this guy's doing. They also got cash.
Yeah.
They sent Luis Gonzalez and cash to Arizona to make the deal. As he pops it up, left side of the infield, and Alex Rodriguez, the third baseman at the shortstop position, takes it in for the first out of the night. I don't know how to mark that down in my scorebook. I guess pop up to the third baseman once again. Tonight's starting lineup for the National League. It's brought to you by Pepsi. Luis Gonzalez will lead it off. He's in center field. That a late change. Then Helton, Bonds, Sosa, Walker, Piazza in the middle. Jones, Kent, and Aurelia the bottom 3. All-star career, a .353 average from Mike Piazza. Broken toe and all, he's here and in the lineup. And he will face Roger Clemens in the second inning unless the National Leaguers bust out here in the first. There's a strike to Todd Helton, one of the best natural athletes, natural hitters in baseball. That's going to be out of play in the count 0-2.
You're going to see a lot of sweet swings tonight, folks, but none better than the gentleman right here, Todd Helton, who's used to breaking records. He set 19 different records at the University of Tennessee in baseball.
Gone here for the second out of the first inning, and the first strikeout for Clemens. 2 out. And we look at the defense for the American League. A change in that Suzuki, who has played mainly right field, not only here but in Japan. Ichiro's in center. Ivan Rodriguez, 9th consecutive All-Star start. That ties him the major league record among catchers. He and Johnny Bench. 2 out, nobody on, and Barry Bonds takes a fastball 95 miles per hour from Clemens for strike 1. Barry Bonds, 39 home runs, #1 in the major leagues. He is on pace, Tim, I know you love it, at this pace. He's on a pace to break Mark McGwire's single season home run record of 70 set back in 1998. That's a clunker, foul on the count. 1-2.
He's been on that pace for about 2.5 weeks. However, he has dried up as far as the home runs are concerned. Barry looking forward to a strong second half if he's going to do it. Gonzalez only 4 home runs behind Barry Bonds at the break.
Bonds has not homered since June 23rd against the Cardinals of all teams. And Darryl Kyle, the fastball is high, and the count 2 balls, 2 strikes. If Bonds should reach, Sosa will bat. 2 out, nobody on. And a little comebacker. Pitching, Clemens dominating the first inning. And the change of positions. For the first time, Ripken playing short since 1997. Get over there, Hall of Famer. That's the way we start the 72nd All-Star game in Seattle. Local hero, international hero, Ichiro will lead it off for the American League, and their lineup brought to you by Pepsi. It's Ichiro. Then Alex Rodriguez, the shortstop. Manny Ramirez is the left fielder. Brett Boone, Juan Gonzalez, John Olruth. The bottom three, Martinez, Cal Ripken Jr., and Ivan Rodriguez batting ninth. How about the defense for the National League? Change right before the start as Luis Gonzalez is in center and Sosa's over in right. Around the infield, you see up the middle, strong with the Giants, Rich Aurelia, Jeff Kent. First National League middle infield teammates to start since 1985, and here is Ichiro. The skeptics all said, no, it won't work. He'll get his comeuppance when he comes to the U.S. and Canada, and plays in the quote-unquote major leagues. This guy is one of the front runners for the MVP award in the American League.
Leads the American League in hits with 134.
Rolls one over to Helton. Johnson's not there. Base hit.
How can I beat you? Let me count the ways. Ichiro, who's almost running when he swings the bat, beats Johnson to the bag.
Some have clocked Ichiro down the line at 3.75 seconds, which is unheard of. Anything under 4 is fantastic. You hear 3.75, 3.8. I like his chances in a race against Randy Johnson, although it takes him only 2 strides to get there. A strike to Alex Rodriguez, the number 2 hitter, and lost in the cheers for Ichiro. The cheers for A-Rod, as I mentioned, was choked up after failing to advance past the first round of the home run derby here at Safeco Field yesterday. Adds on the inside corner, 0-2.
The third time Alex Rodriguez has played here since signing the huge contract with the Texas Rangers, $252 million over 10 years. Greeted roughly the first 2 times around, but not today.
Randy almost caught Ichiro over there napping or leaning, but he was able to get back on the wide throw, and we await the 0-2 pitch to Rodriguez. Nothing new for Ichiro. Leads the league with 134 hits during the regular season. He's on at first. That stays high, and it's 1-2 on Alex Rodriguez as we focus in on Randy Johnson.
The big unit, when he releases the ball, it's as though he's releasing it right in front of you. 11-5 on the year. Numbers always strong for Randy Johnson.
3-time Cy Young Award winner. Last 2 years with Arizona, he won the Cy Young right here in Seattle back in '97. And the 202 strikeouts, by far the most in the major leagues. 1 on, nobody out. 2-2 pitch. Rodriguez takes ball 3. It was 0-2. Now it's a full count.
Ichiro could be running here, and one of the stories today, Mike Piazza catching with a broken left big toe. We'll see how Mike throws if called upon.
Ichiro is running. Rodriguez strikes out, and the throw, well, it was ugly, and Piazza comes up hopping as he tried to land on that front foot. I don't know if he was bothered by Alex Rodriguez or not, but that's a bad sign for Piazza with that throw.
You know, whether it's your right big toe or your left one, that landing big toe, this throw right here, he could have been bothered a little by Rodriguez, but this throw to second base, not even close. Ichiro stealing second, 28 on the year.
So a runner at second with 1 out, and Manny Ramirez is at the plate. Strike 1. Mike Piazza had about 3 different reasons not to show up here in Seattle.
He surely did.
The biggest one was the broken left toe. He is one of baseball's legitimate tough guys, one of the legitimate good guys in Major League Baseball, and my hat's off to him for fighting to get here to Seattle, while you hear other players say, I'd rather take the time off. 0-2 the count on Manny Ramirez. One of the other reasons is all that has gone on between he and Roger Clemens, and the two will hook up in the second inning. And I think for Piazza, for Clemens, for everybody involved, it'll be nice to be able to put that all to bed. Runner at second with one out. Runner at second with two out as Randy Johnson blows away Manny Ramirez. And who would have thought that Brett Boone signing a one-year contract to play in Seattle would end up hitting cleanup in this year's All-Star game?
It's very close, but Brett Boone is my pick for the first half most valuable player. I know a lot of people would pick Manny Ramirez, but Brett Boone gives you on the other side of the ball what Ramirez doesn't. A complete player, always a great defensive player, but this year leading the American League in RBIs.
Breaking ball in for a strike from Randy Johnson. First time as a starter for Brett Boone. Last year a .251 average with San Diego. Runner at second, two out, and that's a little high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's got to be particularly difficult for these hitters. And usually when you start on the West Coast, 5 o'clock start Pacific time, or 5:30, very, very difficult right there. It's tough for the defense in center and right, second base, first base, and particularly difficult for the hitters until the sun goes away. It goes down. It's not going to go away.
It's not going to go away?
It's not
You
going to go
promise?
away. I promise.
What's going to happen tomorrow morning?
It will not. It'll come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 balls and a strike with Ichiro at second, 2 out. And the American League trying to grab a first inning lead. Boone with a big swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Little guy, big swing.
When you're seeing the ball well, it's tough to catch up to a fastball up around the letters from Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson really a 2-pitch pitcher, but oh, those 2 pitches.
Boone trying to bring home his teammate Ichiro. No score here in the first inning. Randy Johnson misses. And it's a full count. On deck is Juan Gonzalez. Edgar Martinez, arguably the best DH in Major League Baseball history, a history that dates back to 1973. He's batting 7th. Johnson trying to pitch around a leadoff infield single by Ichiro, a stolen base, 3-2 pitch. Do it again.
Brett Boone, the first of a 3-generation family. Brett's father, Bob, the manager of the Cincinnati Reds. His brother, Aaron, the third baseman. And his grandfather, Ray, 78 years young, was in the clubhouse the other day, oohing and eyeing over the size of the Seattle Mariners clubhouse. Couldn't get over it.
3 balls, 2 strikes for the runner at second. Boone off the end of the bat should end the inning if someone can get there. Which Giant wants it? It's the shortstop Giant, Rich Aurelia. Ichiro, speed already a factor, showing that off here in this All-Star game. An infield hit. He's left stranded. No score after 1. As we wind our way into the second inning with no score here in Seattle, Sammy Sosa will lead off against Roger Clemens. Sosa, Larry Walker, the DH, and Mike Piazza. No score in the second, and 1 pitch. 2 hopper to the shortstop. He's back at short. Alex Rodriguez 1 away. And nothing to it so far for Roger Clemens. That'll bring in Larry Walker. He's tied for 3rd in the National League with his 83 runs batted in, the 97 most valuable player. Since he ended up in Colorado, all he has done is hit. Mike Piazza waits on deck. Walker takes a ball.
At least Larry Walker's a teammate of Randy Johnson's this year's All-Star game. You mentioned 97. Larry Walker, after having the ball thrown over his head, turned around to hit right-handed against Johnson in Cleveland.
1 ball, 1 strike. 2 former Montreal Expo farmhands, Larry Walker and Randy Johnson, now on the same team in the National League All-Stars. Here in 2001, the 1-1 pitch, 2 balls and a strike. Larry Walker has some inflammation in his right elbow. He wanted to come here and take part in the festivities. Hit. He's the DH. One of the best defensive outfielders in the game still. Here's a 2-1. Into left field. Not hard hit. Manny Ramirez, 2 out. That will bring in Mike Piazza. That will bring in, I guess, chapter 3 of Piazza Clemens.
July 8th of last year at Yankee Stadium, the second of a doubleheader of sorts. The first game played at Shea Stadium, a rain-out makeup game on July 8th. The first time up, an inside fastball hitting Piazza, giving Mike a concussion. And because of that, he was not allowed to play in last year's All-Star game.
Hit him right in the front of the helmet. Then game 2 of last year's World Series, the shattered bat. Clemens picking up the jagged end of it, firing it down the first baseline in the direction of Piazza. Clemens saying afterward, even during, I thought it was the ball. These two have had a war of words through the media. They have not patched things up. As Piazza takes ball 2, 2 balls and a strike, and I know that both players, Piazza and Clemens, will be happy when this at bat is over and these two can move on. 2 balls and a strike, 2 out, nobody on, and Piazza took it on the outside corner, 2-2, and everything has been down the middle of the plate or away to Piazza.
Fastball's away. The last pitch is slider.
So now a 2-2 pitch with 2 out, nobody on here in the second inning. And it's still 2-2. Chipper Jones waits on deck. Mike Piazza has the top batting average, the top slugging percentage among catchers all time. He waits for a 2-2 and takes ball 3, and it was down and away. If Piazza continues as a catcher, when he hangs it up for good, he will likely go down as the greatest hitting catcher in the history of Major League Baseball. The question is whether he will continue as a catcher. 2 out, nobody on, 3 balls, 2 strikes, and Piazza gets it off the end of the bat into right. Finding the sun as Gonzalez, and the inning is over. No base runners yet for the National League. We can put that story to bed for the rest of the night. Clemens threw 2 scoreless. Inning and a half, 0-0 in Seattle. We welcome you back to the bottom of the second in Seattle. Let's go down to the American League dugout and Kevin Kennedy.
Joe, thanks, Roger. You're awesome again. You're having such a great first half. Are you looking for that 6th Cy Young Award? I know you got 1 for each of your 4 boys, 1 for your wife. Is it time for you this time?
Well, it was nice. You know, it was nice to be a part of this, and it was exciting being able to go out there and start. It's just a huge privilege, and you know, a lot of thanks goes out to my manager for giving me the opportunity.
Roger, the Piazza at bat, everybody's been waiting for 9 months for this. Is this thing over with now?
Well, again, I've said all along, Mike's a dangerous hitter, a lot of respect there. You just have to pitch him tough, and as far as I'm concerned, it is. And again, you know, I know I'm going to face Mike down the road again, and just have to, you know, pitch him careful. He's a dangerous hitter.
It was pretty apparent you stayed away. That obviously was your intention.
Yeah, and just, you know, go down the middle with most of them with a little something on it.
Okay, Roger, thank you. Good luck in the second half. Thanks. Joe, back upstairs.
All right, Kevin, thank you, and thanks to Roger Clemens. Juan Gonzalez at the plate with John Olerud to follow and Edgar Martinez the DH. 0-0. And I guess, Tim, when you have guys out there like Randy Johnson and the rest of his teammates that'll follow him to the mound, and the same on the other side, Clemens and the guys coming out of the bullpen for the American League, you expect pitching to dominate with the way these guys can bring it for 1 inning.
It usually has in the All-Star game.
Into right field, Sosa coming in.
Kevin Kennedy talked about Roger Clemens and how he was pitching to Mike Piazza. 6 pitches. Outside, both fastballs. The splitter away. Slider gets the corner. Fouled off. And another one down. Off the end of the bat. And an out. 7 pitches. I said 6. That was a 7-pitch sequence. Nothing inside.
1 out, nobody on, and Olerud takes a strike. You have to know that Piazza at some point figured during the course of those 7 pitches that Clemens was going to work the middle of the plate or away, yet he still got one off the end of the bat. He wasn't totally sure, and he certainly wasn't leaning over the plate.
Yeah.
1 ball, 1 strike on Olerud. It was off to a 3-16 start. Bobby Valentine is the manager for the National League, enjoying his first All-Star game as a player manager. Bobby, can you hear us?
Absolutely.
Are you having fun down there?
Yeah, this is as much fun as I've had. You know, I coached in that one All-Star game in Cincinnati in '87, but to have Tommy by my side and my entire coaching staff, Dusty and Bruce, and this team, this is wonderful.
Don't let that guy to your left start anything with these umpires out here.
Well, I told them if they hear anything from my dugout, it's him, not me, and they can get rid of him anytime they want.
Hey, Bobby, let's from your perspective, and I know it might get difficult to hear, let's from your perspective talk about the Piazza situation and Clemens, just to put it to rest for the rest of the night. I'm sure you're glad that's behind you.
Well, I think it is behind us. You know, it's 2 great players battling against each other who had a couple incidences. Life goes on, and baseball is a lot bigger than their situations. No doubt about that. It's just, you know, in our market, it's tough to put things to rest.
Full count now on John Olerud with Tommy Lasorda cheering on Randy Johnson.
Speaking of great players, Bobby, John Olerud was a member of the New York Mets 2 years ago, signed as a free agent with Seattle. He's some hitter, isn't he?
Yeah, John's just a great professional baseball player. He can field his position. He sees the ball as well as anybody in the world, and has great at-bats.
Grounds 1 to second for Kent. So, Bobby, I guess what you're proving here is you can listen to Tommy Lasorda and hear questions from Tim McCarver at the same time.
I don't know how the heck that happens, to tell you the truth. You know, all the players do wish, though, that this roof was closed for the first few innings here, so they have a chance of seeing the ball. It's a real tough on the hitters right now, I'll tell you that, guys.
Edgar Martinez is at the plate, the DH. Bobby, I know we're going to check back in with you later in the game. I want to talk about why Tommy Lasorda is there, and that day in the Dominican when Tommy had to tell you that was it for your playing career. But we'll save that for a little later.
I hope we have a lot of action in between now and then, but talk to you guys later. Thanks.
All right, Bobby. 2 out, nobody on here.
Already.
And Edgar Martinez, the DH, is at the plate. Edgar, a 302 average. That's down. It's typically up 320 or better. And he tries to get something going with 2 out for the American League. Randy Johnson trying to go 2 scoreless, gets the outside corner, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Arguably the biggest hit in this city's history back in 1995. Game 5 of the division series against the New York Yankees. Ken Griffey Jr. driven in by Edgar Martinez.
The great Dave Niehaus, the local radio announcer, almost blew a hamstring making that call. Edgar with the bases empty, 2 away. Randy Johnson likely finished after he gets 1 more out. Is that out now? No, it's not, says first base umpire Dale Scott. Cal Ripken Jr. waits to hit next, the 40-year-old. 19-time All-Star, and he will hang it up, retire at the end of the season. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, nobody on, and that'll do it for the first 2 here in Seattle. 3rd strikeout for Randy Johnson. Back to Seattle after this from your local Fox station. Nothing. Third inning, no score. The American League has the game's only hit, and a new pitcher's in the game for Seattle, Freddie Garcia. 10-1, an ERA of 3.18, and one of the pieces to the puzzle in the trade made in 1998 between Seattle and Houston, which sent Randy Johnson to Houston. Chipper Jones will lead it off. It'll be Jones, Kent, and Aurelia, the bottom 3 in the order for the National League. Chipper Jones making his 3rd start as an All-Star. There's Jeff Kent on deck, and away we go in the 3rd inning. That's the opposite way off the end of the bat, and Manny Ramirez has it for out number 1.
That trade that you mentioned, the first superstar piece in that trilogy of players that was traded from the Seattle Mariners. Actually, Randy Johnson traded at the trade deadline in '98. Then Ken Griffey Jr. traded a couple of years later, and then Alex Rodriguez signing as a free agent. So in 3.5 years, 3 superstars leaving the Mariners. And what do? Win 63 games in the first half of the season this year.
That leads me to my question. As Jeff Kent stands in, one of the most productive second basemen in the history of baseball with what he's done the last 4 seasons coming into this year. Is there some theory you've come up with? Is there a reason why they've lost 3 of the game's best players, and now in 2001 this team's the best team in baseball?
I don't think you could bottle a theory like that, but certainly pitching has a lot to do with it. And the guy on the mound, 10-1, with their terrific bullpen and their closer, whom I'm sure we'll see today.
That's Sasaki. You could make a strong argument for 2 of their other starters, sure, to be on this all-star squad. The line was drawn after 8 in the end after Cameron was added, placing his friend Greg Vaughn. 3 balls and a strike. Jeff Nelson added late. Aaron Seeley has had a terrific start to the season. Jamie Moyer. That is hard hit into left field off the bat of Kent and into the glove of Ramirez. 2 up, 2 down, and down to Steve Lyons in the National League dugout.
I'm with Randy Johnson. Randy, 8 times you've been here. Another outstanding performance as a starter. Ichiro, the only guy that gets a hit off you. How did he look with you facing him?
Well, I think he was kind of measuring me up. I was measuring him up as far as what he could foul off, and I only threw 2 pitches in the second fastball he hit, and I fell off towards third base, and now I'm going to have to probably work on a little extra PFP now, because as fast as he is, there's no way he can get over there falling off third base.
You know, with the year that you've had so far with the 200 strikeouts already at the break, does the record of Nolan Ryan ever enter your mind?
No, I'm more worried about going out and the way that we're playing right now. I'm more worried about quality starts and strikeouts.
You and Kurt Schilling right now, the best 1-2 pitcher in the game?
Well, it's not up for us to decide. Kurt and myself, we just go out there and pitch as best as we can.
All right, man. Good job. Thank you very much. Joe, let's go back to you.
Cal Ripken Jr. will lead it off. Bottom of the 3rd. American League bats. There is no score. Cal Ripken Jr. stands in to lead it off for the American League in the bottom of the 3rd. Chan-Ho Park is the new pitcher for the National League. He brings his 8-5 record to the hill, and a standing ovation. It will grow as Ripken bats here in the 3rd. The man of 1,000 stances leads off, rips one, goodbye. Ripken homers in his final All-Star game.
What did you say, Joe? Goodbye? What a goodbye.
His second All-Star game home run. And like he did on that September night back in 1995 when he broke Lou Gehrig's Ironman record, he homered in that game. And while they throw a party for the All-Stars and for Cal Ripken Jr. and Tony Gwynn here in Seattle, train whistles blowing in the distance, and Cal Ripken Jr. thrills these fans and thrills baseball once again.
What a moment.
So Chan-Ho Park is greeted with a Ripken home run, and the American League is on top 1-0 here in the 3rd inning. Now Rodriguez hits it hard. One hop. Kent to his right. 1 out. That'll bring in Ichiro, who has one of the 2 American League hits tonight. Let's go down to the dugout and Kevin Kennedy.
Cal, are you sure you want to retire?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was pretty sweet right there. I just wanted to try to get a good pitch and put a good swing on it, and something good happened.
You look like you got pretty good bat speed right there. Seriously, when the fans gave you a standing ovation, what's going through your mind? What kind of emotions are racing through you?
Well, getting a big hit, hitting a home run, having the fans behind you get you going like nothing else can. So I was running about as fast as I could run around the bases too, by the way.
You didn't have to run too fast. You know, I know you're a real family man. I knew your father. I know you think about him a lot. What would your dad say to you right now tonight, just after this experience?
He'll say, forget about your last at bat and go to the next one.
That's awesome. Cal, that is so awesome. Congratulations, and we'll look forward to seeing you some more tonight.
Thanks, Cal. Thank you.
Okay, Joe, back upstairs.
All right, Kevin, and thank you to Cal for the interview, for the swing, and for the memory here in the third inning of the 72nd All-Star game as Ripken becomes the oldest player to homer in an All-Star game. With 2 out, nobody on, Alex Rodriguez is at the plate. During the interview, saw Ichiro nearly beat a high hopper and basically a routine ground ball to the second baseman. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 out, nobody on. Chan-Ho Park trying to get through this third inning. It's 1-2. A-Rod struck out his first time at the front end of a strike him out, steal a base play against Randy Johnson.
In our opening, Joe, we talked about 7 countries being represented tonight. Chan-Ho Park, the first Korean player in the major leagues and in the All-Star game. And Ichiro, the first position player in the All-Star game.
Rodriguez is gone, and so are the American Leaguers, but not before Cal Ripken Jr., baseball's Iron Man. 2,632 consecutive games played and a home run in the 72nd All-Star game in Seattle. And we thank Joe Torre for joining us as he has gone to one of his own. Andy Pettit on the mound. Joe Torre, we know that you can hear us. Not if you can hear us. All right. We are well on our way here in the 4th inning. I know you've been a part of a lot of great moments in baseball history. Describe what it was like to sit in that dugout or stand in that dugout and watch Ripken take the trip around the bases.
Well, you want to get sick to your stomach. I had O-R-D-O-N, and I heard the roar, and I looked up, and I saw the ball go out of the ballpark.
You didn't see it?
I didn't see him hit it. I saw the ball go out of the park.
Did Frank see it?
I hope so. Everybody else saw it. All I heard was Mel Stottlemyre saying, "Get out of here."
That's foul, the count 0-2.
Joe, that was a nice moment in the first inning when A-Rod went over and played third and moved Cal to shortstop. That was A-Rod's idea, right?
Yeah, A-Rod called me, I guess it was on Thursday, I believe it was. Last Thursday, called me after a ball game and asked me what I thought of the idea, and I thought it was dynamite as soon as he told me.
0-2 the count on Gonzalez. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Did you know you're undefeated as a manager in All-Star game play, Joe?
Of course I know that. That's easy to know. You can't. I can count to 3.
You like your chances tonight, Joe?
Excuse me?
You like your chances tonight?
Well, right now I do. As long as those shadows stay like that, I'm fine.
You went through some heat here in Seattle, around the world of baseball, for selecting the Yankee reserves. You ended up adding a couple of Seattle Mariners to the list, and it seems like all is quiet right now with the makeup of your team.
That was politically correct. You know, I knew I was getting. In fact, I took the heat in New York. I thought I was going to take it in Seattle. I took mainly the heat in New York. And then I knew there was a way I had to put a tourniquet on this thing, and picking especially my man Nelly, and then Mike Cameron, who was thrilled to death to be out there.
Gonzalez gets a base hit into right field, and the National League has its first hit. We just saw a shot of Don Zimmer. Can you put into words what Don Zimmer has meant sitting next to you on the bench for this incredible run since 1996?
I can't. He's been so good. You know, today we're into technology. You know, we have computers, we have stopwatches now to time the pitchers.
I'm talking to you in the dugout,
and
that's technology for you.
Yeah, that's right. And then all of a sudden, Zim looks at the pitcher and he say, "We can steal on this guy." You know, he has nothing in his hands other than you know, obviously his hands, and he's just talking about, he sees the game. I mean, he's got the computer in his head, and we're constantly talking about situations, and he has been dynamite for me.
Speaking of technology, Joe, seated to Don Zimmer's right, Frank Torre, and technology has kept him alive over the last 5 years.
Well, we have my brother, and I'll tell you, I can't be more thankful. And he was thrilled when it was suggested to me about taking him, and then I checked with the Major League office, and they said, fine, you're right. You know, open heart surgery, getting a new heart in '96, and you know, he still does his exercises. He's still able to stand at the gambling tables in Las Vegas without having a letdown.
Helton pops it up to the third baseman Ripken. Would it be fair to say, Joe, that Frank has been somewhat of a father figure to you over the years?
Well, there's no question. You know, I know why Bobby Valentine took Lasorda. He meant a lot to his career, and not only professionally but personally. And Frank fit that same description for me. He was a father figure. He was my hero figure. And anytime I, you know, had some good newspaper clippings written about me, if he didn't concur with those, his word is what really counted with me.
1 on, 1 out for Barry Bonds. Bonds at the plate. He bounced back to the pitcher, Roger Clemens, his first time up. 39 home runs. And the tying run is on at first with 1 out here in the 4th inning. 0-2. You know what's unique, Joe, is seeing so much of Frank, but not hearing anything from Frank.
Well, he lets you hear it, doesn't he?
Well, why don't you walk over there at some point and have a seat next to your brother, and maybe he can chime in a little bit.
You want me to do that? I'll find him.
All right.
Where'd he go?
He's behind you.
He's behind me?
He's always been behind you.
Oh, well, here's coming up now. He must have read your lips.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
We're talking upstairs, brother. So they want some of your input.
Just remind him that we're live on national television.
You're live, so bleep yourself.
Make a good pitch. Can Pettit do it? He misses down and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I'll ask Zimmer what I should do.
See, that's a good bench coach, right?
Look at that triumvirate right there.
There's
Zimmer,
my man Zim.
Torre, and Torre.
Right now.
Here's a 2-2. Zim was just informed that this was live.
I'm going to get in between these two now. This ought to be really entertaining. Yeah. We're live, Pops.
I think we ought to strike this guy out.
I think we ought to strike this guy out.
And punch through the man.
How pedestrian is this? Boy, I'll tell you, you got the least color out of Zimmer right now.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Andy Pettit trying to get around a leadoff hit by Luis Gonzalez. Bonds is gone, and that's the second out.
Wouldn't go. Now I know why you've hung around this game for as long as you have.
There you go. He wanted a strikeout, Joe Torre, and he gets a strikeout. Is that the Yankee magic right there?
Well, yeah. If you wish hard enough, it'll come true, you know.
It's that lift Don's cap. Would you mind? Can I see the Zimmer dome?
Sure. You want to do that? Yeah. There it is. How's that?
That's what Derek Jeter rubs before every game,
right?
Like
that. That's it.
Let me tell you something. We got a ball game.
Oh, if you hear him? You hear him? He says we got a ball game. Oh, you got to be a little more serious about that.
That's right. Check on the runner at first, and Andy Pettit, who's got one of the best pickoff moves in baseball, just reminded Luis Gonzalez that he better pay attention over at first as Sammy Sosa digs his way into the batter's box. Joe, we'll check with you later. Thanks for your time.
All right, guys.
Joe Torre, Frank Torre, Don Zimmer. 1 on, 2 out. Sammy Sosa at the plate. 0-1.
It's almost not fair to combine Andy Pettit and Ivan Rodriguez behind the plate. Talk about a lethal combination to steal against. Pettit with that great move to first base, and Rodriguez with that cannon for an arm. Just forget about it. Play it like it's a softball league. Stay on the bag until he pitches.
You start to look at the numbers of Andy Pettit. 9-4 record. The ERA just creeped over the .3 mark his last time out. He's at 3.04. He and Clemens, two of the first three pitchers to the American League, as Sosa fouls it away. Still 0-2. While we have a second, the Radio Shack trivia question. Cal Ripken Jr. played in his first All-Star game at Comiskey Park 18 years ago. Who were the other three active 1983 All-Stars? That's the Radio Shack trivia question. Radio Shack, you've got questions, we've got answers. We tried to get this earlier in the day. Tim and I got none of them. Oh, you got one.
Maybe one. Yeah.
You got one. Still 0-2 on Sosa. Sammy Sosa, part of the first place Chicago Cubs with a 3-game lead over the fast charging Houston Astros. Watch out for the Astros. Maglio Ordonez is taken over in left field. Manny Ramirez is finished, and Mike Cameron is taken over in center, moving Ichiro over to right, and that means that Juan Gonzalez is finished for the rest of the night. 0-2 the count on Sosa. Runner at first, 2 out. 1-0. The American League leads it in the 4th inning. And a bouncer to A-Rod. Tricky hop. Good throw, and the inning is over. Sosa is 0 for 2. Pretty good combination there in the Yankee dugout. Torrey and Zimmer, little all-star magic in Seattle. 1-0 AL. Couple of changes for the National League. Moises Alou of the Houston Astros takes over in right field. Ryan Klesko, having a solid year with San Diego, is at first base. He says redundantly in an all-star game. And John Burkett, the right-hander of the Atlanta Braves, is the new pitcher. The second best ERA in the National League, second only to his teammate Greg Maddux.
John has said that he's learned a lot from Maddux. He's learned a lot from Tommy Glavine. He's even learned a lot from John Smoltz. Those three guys have carried the Atlanta Braves to a ton of wins in the 1990s. John Burkett's second All-Star game. His last was as a member of the Giants in '93.
Maglio Ordonez of the Chicago White Sox is first up. First at bat for Maglio, who has established himself as a major league cleanup hitter, a bona fide major league cleanup hitter. Looking for some help in that Chicago White Sox lineup. Lost Frank Thomas early for the season. He will not come back this season. Okay, Tim, that's your turn. Little clunker up the middle, and to his left, Aurelia takes care of Ordonez, 1 away. Before you explain what's written on John Burkett's hat, we'll give you the Radio Shack trivia question. Cal Ripken Jr. played his first All-Star game at Comiskey Park 18 years ago. Who are the other three active 1983 All-Stars? Radio Shack answer: Ricky Henderson, Jesse Orosco, and Tim Raines. Radio Shack, you've got questions, we've got answers, and Tim and I combined for one of the three on that answer.
There's Jesse Orosco, who made the All-Star team as a member of the Mets in '83.
Here's Brett Boone, second at bat for Boone, who popped up his first time up. To the third baseman, Chipper Jones has to hurry, and he gets Boone by a step. 2 up, 2 down, and John Burkett doing what he has done all season for Atlanta. Burkett, a guy who was released by Tampa Bay in March of 2000. And he is a real credit to Leo Mazzoni and the job that he does as the pitching coach for the Atlanta Braves. What a weapon the Atlanta Braves have in Leo Mazzoni. They have had one reclamation project after another, and he knows what to do with them.
He's not the best pitching coach in the game. He is certainly among the top 3 or 4.
That's a strike right down the middle to Cameron. Mike Cameron, a late addition, filling in for his friend Greg Vaughn. The two became friends in Cincinnati. Both have moved on. Cameron, a big part of the Ken Griffey Jr. trade prior to last year. Breaking ball stays inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think the 3 names on John Burkett's cap are Max, Bud, and Avery.
Reed.
Oh, Reed. Okay.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Maybe giving a shout out to the commissioner, but it doesn't say Bud. It says Reed.
tell me to read them, then I read them, and you rip me.
Rip.
No, I know. No, I.
2 out, nobody on. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and Cameron is gone. John Burkett, what a story. Tim and I will repair our relationship as we go to the 5th. All-Star Faces, All-Star Game, 1-0 American League. Well, tonight and every night, don't miss a full 60 minutes of regional and national sports news all in one place. Turn to Fox Sports Net for all the highlights and latest info on your hometown teams. On the Regional Sports Report, then, get all the national headlines and scores of the National Sports Report. No matter where it happens, we've got it covered every night on Fox Sports Net, covering the dugout of the National League side. Steve Lyons. Steve?
All right, Joe, thank you very much. I'm with John Burkett. And, John, before you came into pitch, you actually caught the home run ball of Cal Ripken Jr. What did you do with the ball?
I gave it to Dave Valley down there. I think he's friends with Cal, so he's going to give it to him after the game, I believe.
We hope he gets it back, because otherwise, you know, what he's worth quite a bit of money, don't you think?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, it was a good shot. I thought it was going to hit me first. So.
I know you love the bull. Any 300 games later?
One last year. Yeah, one last offseason.
I don't know, you wanted to say hello to somebody.
Yeah, I got my kids at the beach at Perdido Keys and my family down there. Max, Avery, Reed, hi, and I'll watch the weather, all right?
All right, John, thank you very much. All right, let's go back to you guys.
All right, Steve, and thanks to John Burkett, who just pitched a perfect 4th inning. Finished for the rest of the night. We're getting into the time of the game where it's a pitcher for 1 inning at most. As Joe Mays takes over, one of the very unique stories of the American League with that Minnesota ball club. And you talked to Joe Torre early on in the season. You said, who do you like this year in the American League? And the Minnesota Twins was the first team name out of his mouth.
In the 2nd week of April, Joe Torre saying the Minnesota Twins was going to be a very surprising ball club. And right now, the Minnesota Twins 5 games in front of the Cleveland Indians, the largest margin they've had all year long. Tom Kelly and his crew.
Where does Mike Piazza rank among all-time catchers? Look at that swing. Hall of Fame numbers through 9 full seasons. Piazza's numbers are at the top. We'll go back to that and give you more of a chance to digest that. Look at the average compared to the other 4. Those are Hall of Famers on that list. The RBIs, the home runs. There's a compelling argument for him to stay behind the plate as a catcher. There's also another compelling argument for him to move, and that is his 33rd birthday coming up. It is rare. Fisk is one of the few exceptions to the rule. Once you get to that age, 33 and beyond, the production starts to tail off, and this has been a below average year for Mike Piazza so far.
Bob Boone is another example of a guy who has longevity, but Bob was not, of course, the offensive player that Fisk and Piazza are.
Spoiling that pitch and fouling it down the right side to keep it 1-2.
I think now's the time. I think Mike Piazza will move from behind the plate, and the Mets will do it judiciously during the offseason. I think now's the time. The combination of everything.
Well, who better to talk to than the manager for the National League and the manager for the New York Mets, Bobby Valentine, as Piazza rolls one over to third. Ripken. 2 out. Let's go down to Bobby Valentine. Bobby, hopefully you can hear us. Is there a plan in place to move Piazza from behind the plate?
I've never talked to Michael about that, that's for sure. I've heard enough about it in New York, no doubt about that. And there's been a little internal discussion, just what if, but there's no plan for that. All right, Michael, great job. Thank you, bro.
So as Piazza makes his way into the dugout, Chipper Jones bats with 2 out, nobody on. Logically speaking, though, Bobby, you've got a weapon there, a big weapon in your lineup, whose biggest asset to your club is what he does with the bat. And if he continues to get beat up behind the plate, it would only make sense to move him away from the catching position, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, we hear that. You know, the only problem we have then, you move him out, then you have to replace the guy that he's replacing behind the plate with some offense that will be comparable, and I haven't seen that come to pass yet.
That's a strength to Chipper Jones. Any thought now with the toe injury, at least for a for a short while, moving him away from the plate? I know he's catching here in the All-Star game, but moving him defensively once the second half starts?
No, Mike's really, when he's been in Met uniform, he's never taken a ground ball or a fly ball.
Here's a fly ball into left off the bat of Chipper Jones into the glove of Maglio Ordonez. Bobby, thanks for your time. We'll check back. That'll do it for the top of the 5th inning. Piazza 0 for 2 and likely finished for the rest of the night. Who's coming up? Olrud, Martinez, Ripken, 1-0 American League. Flying high above and pointing toward Mount Rainier. Above here in Seattle, the Budweiser.com airship with these live shots from 1,000 feet up. Baseball fans, this Bud's for you. Number of changes as the National Leaguers take the field in the bottom of the 5th. Lance Berkman is in the game and now in center field. Albert Pujols, the 21-year-old rookie from St. Louis who played A-ball last year, is in the game at third base. The new catcher is Charles Johnson, takes over for Piazza. The new pitcher, left-hander Mike Hampton, who inked a huge contract in the offseason with the Colorado Rockies. He has not disappointed the Rockies one bit. In fact, as good as he's been on the mound, he's been about that good with a bat in his hands.
With 6 home runs to his credit.
Here is Olrud. And there is strike 1. Understand Pujols will bat 6th. Johnson 7th. Berkman 1st. No balls, 1 strike. Olrud, who's 0 for 1. Grounds it foul 0-2. Where do the New York Mets miss the presence of Mike Hampton?
We talked about John Olrud earlier. I think a lot of times when a team's in the World Series, it obscures your needs. Mike Hampton, the Mets made a big offer to Hampton, somewhere in the neighborhood of $105 million.
Kent to his right, backhanded play, wild throw into the dugout, and Olrud will head down to second base. He's there with nobody out.
John does not get a lot of infield hits. He is not a fast runner. Jeff Kent fielded it well, and then overthrows Ryan Klesko, and Olrud has a rare base hit and an error on Jeff Kent. Actually, an error all the way. No hit given. Yep.
E4, so no hit and error on the throw. And Olrud is finished. Jason Giambi takes over at second base here in the 5th inning. And Edgar Martinez is at the plate. See if the American League can push a run across. The runner at second, nobody out. Cal Ripken Jr. waiting to hit next. Martinez, a late swing. It's 0-2. Edgar Martinez struck out his first time, 5th in the American League with 67 RBIs. The Iron Man waiting to hit next. Iron Man, Cal Ripken Jr. accounting for the game's only run with his 3rd inning home run. Here's an 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Edgar, obviously one of the game's great hitters still. 38 years old. He is at the top or near the top every category among designated hitters. Since the DH was instituted in 1973. 1st in average, 1st in doubles, 3rd in hits, tied for 4th in RBIs, 5th in home runs. Now that's easily overlooked, but it's a mistake to do that with Edgar Martinez in this Seattle lineup.
He's overlooked by everybody but American League pitchers.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner at second, nobody out. Martinez shatters his bat in the hole. It's really a good play, and Martinez does not advance the runner. A streak that began on May 30th, 1982, and ended on September 19th, 1998. And you start to see some of the injuries, near injuries, and some of the pain that Cal Ripken went through during the streak.
And he played, and he played, and he played for over 14 years every single day.
The Oriole way, the Ripken way. And here for his second at bat with flashbulbs popping around the park. Ball one low and away. Ripken, his first time up, ripped one over the wall and left.
This might be his last at bat.
One ball, no strikes, and Ripken just got a piece of it. One ball, one strike. A special presentation will be made a little later to Cal Ripken Jr. He didn't know that A-Rod was going to tell him to go play short at the start of the game. And Ripken will be honored later in this game, as will Tony Gwynn on the field here in Seattle. Giambi at second, one out. Hampton will try to show the world how good he can be after that leadoff error on the ball hit by Olerud after getting Martinez on a shattered bat ground ball to short. It's up to Ripken or Rodriguez. Drive home Giambi. 2 balls and a strike. 2-2.
You mentioned Cal Ripken, the man of 1,000 stances. It'll be interesting when his bronze statue goes outside of Camden Yards, which stance he'll use.
Curt Schilling, who is probably the resident historian among current major leaguers, somebody who respects the history of this game, recording it all. Another one to the shortstop, another one for Aurelia, and the second out. And Hampton is 2/3 of the way through pitching around a leadoff error, but he's got a tough out coming up in Ivan Rodriguez. Rodriguez bounced out to second his first time up. So the Gold Glover, two-time MVP, takes his seat, and the MVP from 1999 digs his way into the batter's box. Rodriguez, runner at second, 2 out. Ball one. Mike Hampton, who played high school football, as a quarterback, a defensive back, recruited to play collegiately. Some big programs, Florida State one of them, has that bulldog type mentality, and he was bearing down and trying to get around that leadoff error. He's picked up 2 outs. Giambi is still at second, and now it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Ivan Rodriguez. Ichiro waits on deck. American League on top 1-0, and that's strike 2. Mike Hampton decided to head to Denver, Colorado, as Ichiro has proven that position players can not only come here and succeed in the major leagues here in the States and in Canada. Mike Hampton's trying to prove that free agent pitchers can go to Colorado and succeed. That's up the middle, and Rodriguez a 2-out hit. Here comes Giambi. Throw not made as Berkman gets it back into the infield. A 2-out RBI hit for Ivan Rodriguez. 2-0 American League. A live shot. Tokyo watching a big screen, Ikebukuro Station, the Times Square of Tokyo, watching Ichiro, who won 7 consecutive batting titles for the Orange Blue Wave in Japan. And here he is with a .347 average at the midway point his first year with the Seattle Mariners. Pacific League All-Star. 1 on, 2 out. 0-2 the count.
Ichiro's nickname in Japan is Elvis. He only weighs 165 pounds, and his teammates on the Mariners cannot believe how much he eats.
So obviously Elvis in his early years.
Right. Not in the early to mid 70s.
No.
0-2
the count, runner at first, 2 out. The opposite way, and Pujols takes care of Ichiro. Let's go back to 1981. Cal Ripken Jr. with the Rochester Red Wings had modest aspirations.
I'm learning the pitchers. I'm learning how to hit the ball to right field, how to hit the ball to left field, and learn how to look for a certain pitch in a certain situation. So all of that, is helping me become a better ball player, and maybe someday soon I'll be in a big league uniform.
Welcome back to Seattle. 72nd Major League Baseball All-Star Game. A look at Cal Ripken Jr. and now we visit with Tom Huttler.
Now entering the game at third base for the Anaheim Angels, number 25 Troy Glaus, replacing Cal Ripken Jr. We direct your attention to the area near third base for a special presentation with Cal Ripken Jr., Tony Gwynn, and Commissioner Bud Selig.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Commissioner's Historic Award was created in 1998 and is presented to a player who sets a record of historic significance or whose body of work is in itself of historic significance. Tonight, it is truly an honor for me to present the award to two of the greatest players of this generation, and two men who leave a magnificent legacy of leadership and community involvement for the next generation. To Cal Ripken for breaking Lou Gehrig's consecutive game streak. For setting a new record at 2,632 consecutive games. And for being one of only 7 players to have more than 3,000 hits and 400 runs batted in. Congratulations, Cal. I want to correct the record. It's 400 home runs.
I just want to say it's been a great and fantastic run. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
And to Tony Gwynn, who has a lifetime batting average of 338. Which ranks 18th on the all-time list, whose 8 batting titles ties Hannes Wagner for the most in National League history. and who has set a National League record by hitting 300 or better for 18 consecutive seasons. Congratulations, Tony.
Thank you. These last 20 years have been the greatest ride I think you can ever be on. And seeing Cal hit that home run, I know I'm on the National League side, but that was pretty impressive. And so, for my final All-Star game, I'd just like to say thank you. It's been great.
Tony, Cal, on behalf of all the players and everybody gathered here, of people in the stands and people all over the world, thank you not only for your on-the-field activity, but for the human beings that you've been and the wonderful, wonderful legacy that you've left our great game. Thank you very much.
The end of that, Tim McCarver, probably the most important part of it all. The legacies that they leave and what they have meant to this game in their individual ways. Cal Ripken Jr. breaking that streak in '95 after the end of '94. The strike, no postseason, no World Series that year. He helped baseball start to bridge the gap back toward the fans with that lap around the warning track. What he did for baseball in '95, plus the exciting postseason that year. But I look at that guy, Cal Ripken Jr., as one of the big reasons why baseball was able to get back so many of the fans. Some still haven't come back, but so many of the fans back to the game after that disastrous end in 1994. And now you go to Tony Gwynn. He's not in the game, but we certainly cannot slight one of the all-time true gentlemen in this game and one of the best hitters. Tim, you know better than I. Unbelievable hand-eye coordination.
Best since Ted Williams, 338 career average, as Commissioner Selig said. The guy who carries himself as gracefully off the field as he does on it.
He wanted to come here, be a part of this. He was asked if he wanted to take a swing, take an at-bat. No, I just want to go there and soak it all in. Talking about a great athlete who also played basketball at San Diego State. 77 to 81. See the athletic moves by Tony Gwynn. And then you know he can do this. In fact, his career plan takes him back to San Diego State. Although it has not been formally announced, he certainly has not been secretive about the fact that he wants to go back to San Diego State as the head baseball coach there. And that team plays in the stadium named after Tony Gwynn. And from, I know, all of us on the media side and all of us on the fan side, thank you to Tony Gwynn for being a wonderful person and a Hall of Fame player. That is fair down the right field line as Quantrill brought home a 2-0 pitch, and Kent will try to turn that into a double. And he does, a leadoff double. We go down to Kevin Kennedy, who's in the American League dugout. Kevin?
Well, I have Cal Ripken Jr. and A-Rod. And Cal, you revolutionized the position of shortstop. We've got the guy that was your idol growing up. Take me through what Earl Weaver told you many years ago, why he moved you from third to short. What did he say to you?
I don't think he even told me why. No, he thought I could handle it, go to the middle of the diamond, you know, have a bigger presence in the middle, just take charge in the middle of the diamond. I mean, it wasn't much more than I could hit in the middle of the lineup. I could give you some offense, but I could also give you some defense. He really wanted me to go out there and take charge in the middle.
Alex, you were a kid growing up in Miami. How much did you see of Cal, and how old were you when you first saw him?
Well, I saw him ever since I've been alive, I think. He's been in the league 20 years, so I'm 25, so there's not too much room there to mess around with. But it's been a thrill for me to watch, and it's really a dream come true, just like many kids all over the world. He was their favorite player, and to me to do this is just one of the nicest things I've done in my career.
What did you say to Cal over at third base to begin the ball game?
I was just teasing him. I said, hey, you have to go to shortstop. And he said, I don't want to play shortstop. I said, well, Skip's over there, and he's telling you to go over there, so now you have to follow orders. And he said, come on, why would you put me through this? So it was great.
All right, thanks, guys. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, Kevin, thank you. And thanks to Cal and to Alex Rodriguez. Obviously, as Kevin talked about, it showed a big man could play the shortstop position, and fitting that Weaver would do it, a guy who lived for that 3-run homer. They have a shortstop pound the ball out of the park. Aurelia grounds to third. Troy Gloss from the Angels takes care of Aurelia. Now to the other side, the National League dugout, and Steve Lyons.
Well, Joe, certainly one of the guys that needs no introduction. Tony Gwynn is here with me. And Tony, when we force you to take a look back at your career, the tremendous times that you've had, and an award like that happens, how do you keep it together?
I don't know. To be honest with you, you know, Bud Selig came down and yesterday and was telling me, you know, that something was going to go on. They didn't tell me what, but whatever it was, he was struggling with it. And so standing here waiting to find out, you know, exactly what it was going to be. I had no idea they were going to stop the game, and both sides were going to come over and, you know, shake your hand, give you a hug, tell you you've done wonderful. I mean, you know, it's hard. So,
you know, we've heard a lot about how much you've been teaching and really imparting your knowledge, much more so at this All-Star game to all the other guys that are here than you had in the past. Do you really have the idea that you wanted to teach a little bit more here this time?
You know, not really. I think since I announced that I was going to retire, I think people realize what I want to do when I'm through. I'd like to coach. And I was telling Lance Berkman, I said, man, you better pick my brain now because we play you guys right after the break, and you're not going to get a chance to again. So, you know, I just tried to make a point of just, you know, going to the young guys, congratulating them for making the All-Star team and letting them know that, you know, they can be as great as they want to be. They just have to know they're going to work at it.
As you do look around in this locker room, in this dugout here, who are the guys that can carry the torch the way you have?
Oh, there's a lot of guys. A lot of guys, you know, I mean, Lance Berkman comes to mind for me just because, you know, I was there in the game when he started, when he got his first big league, hit, his first big league home run, and to see where he's progressed from a couple of years ago to where he is today, you know, to me that's how you become a bona fide major league player. You just got to kind of roll up your sleeves and say, hey, I'm going to do the work that I need to do, and he's a great example of that. And then you have a guy like Johnny Rollins who comes in, this is his first All-Star game, and talking to him, you think he'd been here for 8 or 9 years. Very confident, very self-assured with himself, but realizing that he's got a lot of work to do, and he's not afraid to do it. And so, from my standpoint, I think we got a lot of things going in the right direction in this game.
As we get the base hit right there, one more question to you, Tony. As you look around here and you take a deep breath, you can catch up with yourself again because there's still a long way to go for you, isn't there?
You're right. And, you know, when things like this happens, it just kind of lets you know what you're going to be in store for. And, you know, I held up okay this time, but I know in September you're not. And why hide it? You know, there's no reason to hide it. I'm pretty proud of what I've been able to accomplish, but when it comes to letting people know, it's tough.
Everybody around here is certainly proud to have been a part of it as well. Tony, thank you very much. Let's go back to you, Joe.
All right, thanks to Tony. Berkman was listening. He got a base hit the opposite way, and all of a sudden the tying runs are on here in the 6th inning. Quantrill's gone. At the end of the season, Gwynn will be gone. An All-Star game send-off for Tony Gwynn. Wonderful person. We're happy he's here in Seattle. There is Dale Earnhardt Jr. What a year it has been for Jr., for the entire racing world. Dale losing his father at the Daytona 500, and Dale coming off a victory in Daytona this past weekend. Driving the number 8 Budweiser car as Klesko hits it off the end of the bat. Gets the sacrifice fly into center as he takes the first pitch from Mike Stanton and puts the National League on the board. A leadoff double by Kent, and he scores on a sac fly by Klesko here in the 6th inning, and the lead has been cut in half.
Mike Stanton, of course, of the Yankees, one of the 6 players selected, and perhaps the most zealous in accepting the role given to him by Joe Torre. His first All-Star selection, and he said that being selected on the All-Star team was the one thing that could make him lose his appetite.
Well, you're looking at as valuable a player as the Yankees have, and I mean anybody on that team.
He's the most underrated reliever in baseball in my view. Mike Stanton.
Definitely deserving of this all-star appearance, as is Vladimir Guerrero, one of the game's best young players. He has done things before the age of 25 that few have ever even dreamed of. 1 ball, 1 strike.